Hello, it's Stuart, the Unrepentant Atheist. Happy Easter, it's Easter Sunday. Aosta, the spring goddess, the pagan spring goddess. It's another festival that Christianity stole from the pagans. But anyway, let's move on. We've got Adrian calling in from Texas several years ago. And we've got both Don and then Matt is going to deal with this same caller. And I just thought it was good as a comparison to compare the approaches. Let's go.
Right, I just wanted to talk about what I believe and why.
Okay, great.
I believe in a creator God because of all the evidence that was left behind, like the moon and the and DNA and the tilt of the Earth. And
Adrian, didn't you literally call and have the same conversation with me a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, but
okay, I just wanted to check. I'm going to shut up now.
We could give you the same answer if we invoke Matt here.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to both of you. I just wanted to talk to.
So I don't believe that there's a creator. I haven't seen any solid evidence of a creator. There are things that might appear designed, but there are processes that do these sorts of things.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Don. What you just said there appear to be designed. That's what the experts are also saying, like Richard Dawkins about DNA and, about the moon and Jupiter, the position of Jupiter, they say protects us from.
Did you notice the way that Matt pressed his microphone button there? He's desperate to come in and he's face palming now.
Asteroid strikes and plate tectonics and magnetic.
You're boy. Why don't we pick one?
Look at that body language. He looks completely fed up.
I believe I said that last time.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
Why don't you pick one and we'll talk about it a little bit and then we'll move on to another caller.
Right. I know there's a lot of them. So yes.
Give me your best one. How about that?
Right. The best. I mean, I guess we'll just start with DNA. DNA.
Okay. So DNA is a complex chemical, right? That has the ability to make copies of itself, right?
Right.
Okay. And sometimes there are mistakes or things that can go on with that copying process to create different versions, and then there's this recombination, this double helix thing that can be,
I think this biology lesson is unnecessary, but anyway, keep going.
You get part from your father, part from your mother, right? And so the genes that are expressed in you are a combination of your parents.
Yeah, and intelligent design people will say, "Isn't that clever? God must have done it." So I don't really see the point in rehashing this.
Very good. Yes.
Okay.
It's true.
So where is God in all that?
Just like what you said earlier, how looks to be designed. That's also what experts like Richard Dawkins are also saying.
Now I'm pretty sure you're quote mining him and getting the wrong answer there. He
did go on to say that he doesn't know, and I'll go.
Well, he doesn't really say that, Richard Dawkins. He's written several very detailed books on the theory of evolution, explaining the whole process.
Okay, well, the time to believe something is when you have positive evidence for it, right? Not because something appears the way that you kind of like the answer. So do we have any evidence of God coming in and tinkering with DNA or having created it in the first place or something like that?
Yes, we do.
We do. Awesome. So can you expand on that?
Yes, it'll just look that way. It appears that way.
Yeah, well, they're going in circles now. Several times, I think 3 or 4 times now, he's said that the evidence is the appearance, and that's because Don really needs to use an analogy. I would just simply say, well, appearance is not evidence. It appears that the Earth is flat, but science tells us that it's an oblate spheroid. It's not flat. He needs to demonstrate with an analogy why that reasoning is incorrect.
And there's a lot of other things also that just
okay.
have
We're sticking with DNA though, right?
Right, for now.
So you have some evidence that God did what with DNA?
Well, it appears to be designed, and I guess a designer would be like a godlike, something godlike, right, or something that we would consider godlike.
So so it might appear that way, but is it really that way? Do you have evidence that it is that way?
Right. That's also like how people can go to jail and they get out later whenever they find evidence later that proves them innocent. We can always let them out of jail later. And I have no problem with letting God out of jail. It's just right now that
you just want to believe without really strong evidence because of
right now the evidence. That's what the evidence shows, and that's why people go to jail that are innocent. But there's a lot of people that do go to jail that are guilty.
Matt's
and it's
squirming
because
over
they
here.
look guilty.
So are you suggesting that because that it's okay to lock up innocent people based on evidence that's clearly flawed because later we found out they were not guilty?
No, if you're being honest, you'll let them out of jail once you find that they're innocent.
Holy shit.
If it looks like
you shouldn't put them into jail in the first time. What that means, anytime you find out later that somebody was clearly innocent, we need to let them out of jail, that means you fucked up in the initial decision.
So let's avoid that.
So here's the thing.
Yeah,
lots of things can give the appearance of design because that's what we're tuned to project. And your reasoning is such that if it appears designed, I'm going to believe it's designed until it's not. But if you apply that reasoning universally, you will be convinced that I have magic powers because I am an expert at giving the appearance of having magic powers. And if you can't explain how I do a trick, you, in order to be consistent, would have to conclude that Matt has magical powers. Are you willing to do that?
Yeah, we would have a lot.
Are you willing to do that?
If we went by the logic that you're using, we would have a lot of guilty guys.
Yes, we would. Yes, we would. But we wouldn't have innocent people dying and being locked up and giving up their lives.
So I'm just trying to unravel this prison analogy. I find it a bit bizarre, really. Is he suggesting that standards of evidence to achieve a guilty verdict should be low enough, should be sufficiently low to ensure that there are more guilty people in prison? In the same way that we're going to lower our standards of evidence for accepting his argument on intelligent design. Can't quite get his point there on that analogy.
Better that 100 guilty men go free than one innocent man goes to prison. But that's not the question I asked.
I agree.
It's not the question.
Yeah,
you don't agree. You don't agree. You don't agree. And that's not the question. Stop.
I'm not.
Stop. That's not the question I asked. If I do a magic trick that you can't explain, are you going to be convinced that I have magical powers?
No, not if it's a trick.
No, and you even laughed at it, which exposes how ridiculously you are engaged in a set of special pleading. When it comes to God, which you want to believe in, you will take the appearance of a God as evidence for a God. But you don't want to believe that Matt's got magical powers, so the appearance of Matt having magical powers, you will laugh and mock and toss aside.
No, I'm saying we have to have evidence to prove that you don't have magical powers, and otherwise you have to prove that.
No. You just said you would not believe that I had magical powers, and now you're suggesting that we need to have evidence that I don't.
Yeah, of course. You do need evidence for everything. You know that, Matt. I learned that from you.
And, but the appearance of design is not evidence of design.
It is.
No, it's not. By definition, the word appearance makes it distinct from actual. If I say I can give the appearance of magic, that's different from me saying I can do magic. So the reason we put the word
evidence.
The reason we put the word appearance on there is a recognition that at first blush, you could look at this and go, wow, that kind of looks designed, but you know that you should not reach that conclusion. Otherwise, you would not include the word appearance. You'd just say design, because you'd actually have evidence for design. But you don't have that, and you can't get it. And that's why you are selectively agreeing that appearance of design is enough to convince you that a God exists until somebody proves you wrong, which is proof, which we told you 2 weeks ago, so we're moving on to somebody else.
Well, that's the end of the call then. So we got to the end of it, and the caller still did not concede that appearance of design does not equate to evidence of design. I thought you might find that interesting, just to see how Don and Matt both dealt with the call. Obviously with Don, I'm not saying that I could do better, but I felt that he probably spent double the amount of time that he should have done, and he said a lot of unnecessary things. I think the biology lesson was unnecessary, and it was like he was buying time while he was trying to think of what to say next. That he allowed the caller to assert that appearance is evidence of design without really nailing him down with a good example of why it's not, was not really that good. And I was relieved in the end when Matt took over and exposed his flaws in his reasoning very effectively, I thought. But in the end, of course, he didn't want to know, did he? He still just kept on asserting that appearance is evidence of design, and no doubt he probably still thinks that to this day. So there we are. Thanks very much for tuning in. I'll be back again with another video soon. Bye for now.